She said, "I'm gifting your home office to my sister as her art studio. You can work from the kitchen." I ran my entire business from that office. I said, "Let's discuss this." Then I changed every lock in the house, filed for unauthorized entry, and gave her sister 24 hours to vacate. When the sheriff arrived, original post, I, 34 male, own a small but profitable e-commerce business that I run entirely from home. I sell custom automotive parts, source them, list them, manage inventory, handle customer service, shipping, logistics, all of it. It's not Amazon. It's a one-man operation that I built from a folding table in my parents' garage when I was 26, and that now nets me about $115,000 a year after expenses. Everything runs through my home office. 2 monitors, a dedicated business phone line, a commercial printer for shipping labels, shelving units for high-value inventory I store in-house, and a filing cabinet with 8 years of tax records, vendor contracts, and business documents. This office isn't a room where I check emails and browse Reddit. It's the nerve center of my livelihood. If that room stops functioning, my income stops functioning. That's not dramatic, it's arithmetic. On my house, bought 4 years ago, 3-bedroom, 1-story, decent neighborhood. My name on the deed. My mortgage. My homeowner's insurance. Just mine. My girlfriend, 31F, moved in with me about 18 months ago. We've been dating for 2 years at that point. The arrangement was simple. She didn't pay rent or mortgage. She contributed to groceries and utilities, roughly $400 a month. I covered everything else. The agreement was never formalized in writing, which in retrospect was a mistake, but at the time it felt like normal couple stuff. She had a key. She got mail delivered here. She was, for all practical purposes, a resident. Her younger sister is an artist. I'm using that term loosely. She makes mixed media pieces, paintings with things glued to them, texture canvases, some sculpture work. She's talented. I've said that sincerely. But she doesn't sell much. She works part-time at a craft supply store and lives with a roommate in a small apartment. Her art income last year, based on conversations I've overheard, was around $3,000. She's been wanting a dedicated studio space for about 2 years because her apartment is too small to work in comfortably. This is all background. Here's what happened. 2 Saturdays ago, I came home from running errands, oil change, Costco run, dropped off a package at the shipping center. Normal Saturday. I walked in the front door and immediately noticed something was different. My office door was open, which I keep closed. I walked over and looked inside. Half my stuff was gone. Not stolen. Moved. My monitors were unplugged and stacked on the hallway floor. My printer was on the ground in the living room. 3 of my shelving units had been emptied, and the inventory was in cardboard boxes in the garage. My filing cabinet had been shoved into the corner, and someone had thrown a drop cloth over it. And in the middle of my office, there was an easel, a folding table covered in paint supplies, a stack of canvases leaning against the wall, and a small speaker playing lo-fi music. My girlfriend's sister was standing at the easel with a paintbrush in her hand. She looked at me and smiled and said, "Hey, what do you think of the light in here?" "It's perfect." My girlfriend came out of the kitchen. She had this energy, like she was revealing a surprise renovation on a home improvement show. She said, and this is verbatim because it's burned into my brain, so I've been thinking about this for a while, and I decided to gift this room to my sister as her art studio. She really needs the space, and you can totally work from the kitchen table. I'll get you a nice desk pad and a monitor stand. It'll work great. I stood in the hallway looking at my displaced equipment, my boxed-up inventory, my business infrastructure scattered across my house like the aftermath of a move I didn't agree to. My girlfriend was smiling. Her sister was painting. And somewhere in the living room, my $800 commercial printer was sitting on the hardwood floor next to a pair of shoes. I said, "Let's discuss this." My girlfriend looked pleased. She thought discuss meant negotiate. She started talking about how the kitchen has great natural light too, and how her sister has been suffocating creatively, and how this would be good for everyone. I let her finish. Then I said, very calmly, "This is my house. That's my office. My business operates out of that room. You moved my equipment without my permission. This isn't a discussion about rearranging furniture. This is a problem." Her sister stopped painting. My girlfriend's smile faltered. She said, "Why are you making this a big deal? It's just one room. You can work from anywhere. You have a laptop." I have a laptop, 2 desktop monitors, a business phone line hardwired into that room, a commercial printer, an NAS drive on that network, and $14,000 worth of inventory that you put in cardboard boxes in an uninsulated garage. This isn't a laptop job. You're being selfish. She's my sister. She needs this. She needs a studio. This isn't a studio. It's my office. In my house. Our house. Your name isn't on the deed, the mortgage, or the insurance. You pay $400 a month in share expenses. This is my house. That landed hard. Her face changed. Her sister put the paintbrush down. The lo-fi music suddenly felt very loud. My girlfriend said, "I can't believe you just said that. I live here too." You do. And that's something I've been happy about. But living here doesn't give you the right to give away rooms in my house to your family members. She stormed off to the bedroom. Her sister looked at me with this expression that was half embarrassed and half annoyed, like I was the one being unreasonable. She said, "She told me you were cool with this." I wasn't asked. She said she talked to you about it. She did not. Her sister left within the hour. Took her easel and supplies. But she didn't take all of her stuff. She left canvases, a box of materials, and the drop cloth, like she was holding a parking spot. My girlfriend didn't speak to me for the rest of the day. I spent Saturday night moving my equipment back into my office, checking every cable connection, making sure nothing was damaged. My NAS drive had been unplugged improperly, and I had to run a recovery scan that took 4 hours. Thankfully, no data was lost, but my heart rate didn't return to normal until the scan finished clean at 2 a.m. Sunday morning, my girlfriend came out of the bedroom and said, "We need to talk about this like adults." I said, "Adults don't give away other people's rooms without asking. It's not giving away. It's sharing. She was going to use it during the day while you work. You wouldn't even overlap. I work during the day. That's when I run my business. During the day. You can adjust your schedule. I'm not adjusting my schedule so your sister can paint in my office." She called me controlling. She called me materialistic. She said I value possessions over people. She said her sister cried the entire drive home. She said I humiliated her in front of her family. I said, "Your sister's feelings are valid, but they don't override my right to my own workspace in my own home." The answer is no. It will remain no. This isn't a negotiation. She went back to the bedroom. I went to my office and worked. We didn't speak for the rest of the day. Update 1, 6 days later. A lot of you told me this wasn't over. You were right. Monday and Tuesday were tense but quiet. My girlfriend and I coexisted in that cold, functional way couples do when they're actively angry but too tired to keep fighting. She went to work. I worked from my office. We ate separately, slept in the same bed, but with the energy of 2 strangers on a red-eye flight. Wednesday, I had a full day of shipping, end-of-month orders stacking up. I was in my office from 7 a.m. to about 6 p.m. with breaks only for food and the bathroom. When I came out to make dinner, my girlfriend was on the couch with her phone. She looked at me and said, "My sister wants to come get the rest of her stuff this weekend." I said, "Fine, no problem. Come get the canvases and the drop cloth." "Good. And she wants to talk to you about a compromise." "There is no compromise. The office is my office. Can you at least hear her out? She has a real proposal." I said fine because I figured shutting down a proposal in person was easier than fighting about it for another week. Saturday, her sister came over. She sat at my kitchen table and presented her case like she was pitching on Shark Tank. She said she'd looked into renting studio space, and the cheapest option she found was $650 a month, which she couldn't afford. She said my office had the best natural light of any room she'd ever worked in. She said she'd use it only on Tuesday and Thursday mornings from 8 a.m. to noon. She'd keep it clean. She'd buy a storage unit for her supplies so they weren't in my way. It was a reasonable pitch. I'll give her that. Clearly thought out. I said no. Her face fell. "Can you at least tell me why?" "Because it's the room where I run my business. I need it available every day, all day. I take calls from vendors on unpredictable schedules. I ship same-day orders. I can't tell a customer sorry. My office is an art studio on Tuesdays. It doesn't work operationally, but you could work from the kitchen on those 2 mornings. I'm not going to work from my kitchen in my own house to make space for someone else's hobby. She looked at my girlfriend. My girlfriend looked at me like I'd just told a child there's no Santa Claus. Then her sister said something that shifted everything. You know, my sister pays to live here. She has a right to make decisions about the space, too. She pays $400 a month in share expenses. She doesn't pay rent. She has no lease. She has no ownership stake. She's a guest in my home who contributes to groceries and utilities. My girlfriend stood up. A guest? I'm your girlfriend. I've lived here for a year and a half. I'm not a guest. Then stop acting like a landlord. Landlords make decisions about rooms. Your partner. Partners ask. She said I was being financially abusive by reminding her that she doesn't own the house. I said recognizing the legal reality of property ownership isn't abuse. It's a fact. She said facts can still be weapons. I said so can easels apparently. Her sister gathered her remaining stuff and left. My girlfriend went to the bedroom and called her mom. I know because I heard her through the door saying, "He basically told me I'm nothing in this house." That's not what I said. But I've learned that what people hear and what you say are two completely different things when emotions are running the show. Monday morning, here's where it escalated. I left for a meeting with my accountant. Quarterly tax stuff, gone for about 3 hours. When I came home, her sister's car was in the driveway. The front door was unlocked, and her sister was in my office. Again, easel set up, paint out, music playing, a coffee mug on my desk, leaving a ring on the wood. I stood in the doorway. "What are you doing here?" she said, casually, without turning around. "Your girlfriend gave me a key. She said I could use the room when you're not home." My girlfriend gave her a copy of my house key. Without asking me, without telling me. She had a key cut for her sister and distributed access to my home. A home she does not own, while I was at a meeting. I didn't yell. I took out my phone and texted my girlfriend, "Your sister is in my house using my office. Did you give her a key?" She responded in 2 minutes. "Yes. She's only going to be there when you're out. You won't even notice." I put my phone down. I looked at her sister. I said, "I need you to leave. Right now." She said it was okay. She doesn't have the authority to give you access to my home. I'm the homeowner. She's not on the deed, the mortgage, or the lease. She cannot give you a key. I need you to leave, and I need the key. Her sister gave me a look like I was the most dramatic person she'd ever met. But she packed up, gave me the key, and left. That afternoon, I went to the hardware store and bought new locks. Deadbolts. Front door and back door. I installed them myself. It took about 2 hours. I kept one set of keys. I did not give my girlfriend a copy. Before you come at me, I know this is legally complicated. In my state, a live-in partner who receives mail at the address and has resided there for over a year has certain tenant protections. I cannot just lock her out. I'm aware of this. What I can do is change the locks and provide her access through my presence. She can get in when I'm home. She cannot distribute keys to third parties who enter my home and use my private workspace without authorization. I called a lawyer that afternoon. Not a family lawyer, a property attorney. I explained the situation. He told me I was within my rights to change locks on a home I solely own, but that I needed to ensure my girlfriend maintained access as a resident. He said the sister, however, had zero legal claim to access and that her unauthorized entry after I'd explicitly told her she wasn't welcome could support a trespass complaint. He recommended I document everything and send her sister a formal written notice stating she is not permitted on the property without my explicit consent. I did exactly that. Typed up a letter, printed it on my beautiful commercial printer in my beautiful office, and mailed it certified. Update 2, 12 days later. Final update. This thing went further than I expected, but it's over now, and I want to lay out what happened. After I changed the locks, my girlfriend came home from work to find her key didn't work. She called me. I was inside. I opened the door and let her in. "Why doesn't my key work?" "I changed the locks. Because you gave your sister unauthorized access to my home." "She's not some criminal. She's my sister. She entered my home without my permission, after I explicitly said no, using a key you had no right to distribute. That's trespassing." "Trespassing? Are you hearing yourself?" She was painting. She was painting in my office, in my home, without my consent. The activity doesn't change the legality. She said I was insane. She said I was escalating things to a crazy degree. She said no normal person changes their locks over a painting session. I said no normal person gives out keys to someone else's house without asking. We didn't speak for 2 days. She stayed in the bedroom. I stayed in my office. The house felt like a Cold War bunker. Then came Wednesday, the day I realized this wasn't about an office or a studio. It was about something much bigger. I came home from dropping off shipments, and my girlfriend's mom was sitting in my living room. My girlfriend had let her in, which fine, she's a resident and can have guests. But the setup was clearly an ambush. Her mom was on the couch. Her sister was at the kitchen table. My girlfriend was standing by the window like a lawyer about to deliver closing arguments. Her mom opened. "Sit down, sweetheart. We need to talk about this as a family." I didn't sit down. This isn't a family matter. This is a property matter. And you're my home. Her mom's expression tightened. She said, "When my daughter lives somewhere, it becomes family property. That's how families work. That's not how property law works. Don't lecture me about law. My husband owned rental properties for 20 years. Then he'd know that a non-owner can't grant access to third parties." She didn't have a response to that, so she pivoted. "My youngest daughter is struggling. She needs a creative space. You have a room that sits empty. It doesn't sit empty. I work in it. Every day. It generates the income that pays the mortgage on the house you're currently sitting in. Don't be smart with me. I'm not being smart. I'm being clear. The room is not available. It will never be available. This conversation is over." Her sister, who'd been quiet, spoke up. "You know what? Keep your room. I don't even want it anymore. But you should know that the way you've treated my sister, locking her out, making her feel like a guest, throwing the mortgage in her face, that's not how you treat someone you love." I looked at her. "Your sister moved my equipment out of my office without asking. You entered my home without my permission, using a key she had no right to give you. I changed the locks to protect my property and my business. At no point did I yell, threaten, or disrespect anyone. If setting boundaries is mistreatment, then I'm guilty." Her mom stood up. "This relationship is over. I'm telling you that right now. No daughter of mine is going to stay with a man who treats her like a tenant." I said, "She's welcome to leave whenever she wants. I'll give her 30 days to find a new place, which is more than the law requires in this state." The room went dead silent. My girlfriend looked at me like I'd flipped a switch she didn't know existed. Her mom grabbed her purse. Her sister was already heading for the door. Her mom turned back and said, "You'll regret this." I said, "Maybe, but I'll regret it in my own house, in my own office, with my business intact." They left. My girlfriend stayed. She went to the bedroom and didn't come out for the rest of the night. Thursday morning she packed. Not everything, just clothes, toiletries, important stuff. She loaded up her car without saying a word. I was in the kitchen making coffee. She came to the doorway and said, "I'm going to my mom's." I said, "Okay, if you want to come back for the rest of your things, let me know and I'll be here." "That's all you have to say? What do you want me to say? That you're sorry, that you went too far, that we can fix this?" "I'm sorry that this is how things ended. I'm not sorry for protecting my home and my business. I asked you not to give away my office. You did it anyway. I asked you not to give out keys. You did it anyway. Every boundary I set, you crossed. I didn't go too far. You kept going." She left. I changed the locks one more time that afternoon. New code on the keypad this time. Belt and suspenders. Now, here's the legal piece, because people are going to ask. My property attorney drafted a formal notice to vacate, which I sent to my girlfriend at her mom's address. 30 days. Standard procedure. In my state, even without a written lease, a resident of 18 months is entitled to proper notice. I did it by the book. Her sister received the certified letter I'd sent earlier. No response. No further attempts to enter. According to my lawyer, if she'd showed up again after written notice, I could have filed a trespass complaint with the sheriff's department. She didn't, so it didn't come to that. The letter was enough. My girlfriend's belongings, the rest of them, got picked up the following weekend. She came with her mom and her sister. I was home because my lawyer said to be present. They packed everything in about 90 minutes. Her mom didn't speak to me. Her sister didn't speak to me. My girlfriend said exactly one thing. I left the shelf liner I bought for the bathroom. You can throw it away. That's what 18 months of living together reduced to. Shelf liner. I said, I hope things work out for you. I mean that. She didn't respond. They loaded the car and drove away. After they left, I walked through the house. It was emptier. Her shampoo was gone from the shower. Her books were off the shelf. The decorative pillow she insisted on for the couch was gone. The house looked like mine again in a way it hadn't for a year and a half. I wasn't relieved. I wasn't celebrating. I was just standing in a quiet house that I owned outright, with a functional office and an intact business and an NAS drive full of backed up data and a mortgage payment due in 9 days. It's been about 2 weeks since she moved out. The 30-day notice period technically hasn't expired yet, but she's gone and I don't expect her back. I found out through a mutual friend that her sister is now renting a shared studio space at an art collective downtown. $475 a month split between 3 artists. She apparently found it 3 days after moving out of my house. 3 days. The space existed the whole time. She just didn't want to pay for it when she thought she could use mine for free. That detail is the one that sticks with me the most. There was always an alternative. She just didn't want it because mine was free. My ex has been telling people I kicked her out. Technically, I gave her a legal 30-day notice after she voluntarily left. But I understand that he gave me a 30-day notice doesn't generate the same sympathy as he kicked me out. I'm not correcting the narrative. The people who matter know what happened. The people who don't matter. My business didn't miss a beat through any of this. I shipped every order on time. I answered every customer call. My Q4 numbers are tracking ahead of last year. My office, has 2 monitors, a commercial printer, an NAS drive, and a filing cabinet with 8 years of records. Everything where it belongs. Nothing on the hallway floor. I'm not going to tell you I'm thriving. I'm eating a lot of frozen burritos, and the house is too quiet at night, and I miss having someone to watch Sunday Night Football with. Breakups are breakups. They all cost something. But I know what would have cost more. Sitting at a kitchen table with a laptop, running a 6-figure business out of the same spot where I eat cereal, while someone else paints in the room I built my life in. That was never going to happen. Not for love, not for peace, not for anything. My mom called me last night. She said, I heard about everything. Are you okay? I said I was fine. She said, your father would have done the same thing. My dad built his plumbing business out of a spare bedroom for 15 years. He would have absolutely done the same thing. That's probably where I got it from. Thanks for reading. Protect your space. And if someone tells you to work from the kitchen so their sister can paint in your office, the answer is always no. No matter how good the natural light is. Later.